Welcome, everybody. Today we have a workshop with Bett Bollhoefer, and she is a speaker, a programmer. She works for a tech company, and she's written a bunch of books, and she lives in a far, far away magical land, west as you can go, almost to the edges of the known universe, Oakland, California. So we're excited to do this workshop and find out what are the holes in our spiral. Basically, we're going to try to identify the things that we could work on a little bit on ourselves. So with that, Bett, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. And I am very glad to share this presentation. And one thing was really fun about putting this together, it was definitely a group effort. And I would like to call out Paul and Barbara and even Bruce Weber, who I don't think is on here. And I think Josh all looked at this. So we're gonna have some fun today. I think that we all work way too hard probably to come to this, like it's a workshop, even though it's a workshop. So have some fun. So I'm going to go over the agenda, the objectives, the format. We'll do a self-evaluation. There's some time for you to use that to make a little plan. We're going to have some group discussions. And I want to remind everyone that in the group discussion, you don't have to reveal anything you don't want to. If you discovered a lot of holes that are very embarrassing to you and you just do not want to talk about that, that's okay. You can just, talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about. We always go off subject anyway, so we never follow directions in this group. But just be aware that if you have anything that you don't want to share, that's perfectly fine. And then we'll come back into a larger group discussion. And the goal is to finish this in 2 hours. So whatever time zone you are, that's the goal for the day. So if you have other things going on in your day, you can get to those things after this really fun workshop. So the goal for this workshop is to identify which holes you have in each color, okay? So whatever colors, we all have all the colors, and let's find out where there might be holes. And I'm not gonna go into any kind of theory around why those holes might be there or how we develop or anything like that, because I am not a psychologist nor am I qualified. But I think I am qualified on realizing you cannot do everything. So at the end of the self-assessment, just pick 3 things that you think you want to work on, because you really can't get everything done. And if you find 7 holes in each spiral or each color, like just pick 3 top things to work on, because life is already hard enough. Okay, I'm going to do a little intro of kind of how we built this self-assessment. Then we'll do the assessment for 40 minutes, which is like 5 minutes per color, but really beige doesn't need 5 minutes. So I'm going to time it a little bit less aggressively on the beginning, and then maybe a little more time near the end. And then we're going to do 5 minutes of assessment, 5 minutes of planning, and then the group discussions, which again, you can share whatever you want to. All right, so the intro, I'm just gonna stop sharing for 1 second. So what I did was I first just came up with the questions from reading the different books I've read. And I thought that my questions were I thought they were really solid. So I shared them with my good friend, Veronica. She found a bunch of other things and said to move things certain places and such like that. And so we moved things around, and then we shared it with Barbara, and Barbara had a bunch more comments and good ideas. And so then we shared it with Paul, and he had some more ideas and more thoughts. And then Josh, I think, took a stab at something. So it was really like a group thing. And what I discovered from this is that the holes in our spiral are blind spots. So I had a bunch of questions about things that I think are important, which is really amazing, because when Veronica looked at it, she had a whole bunch more things to add. And so basically, because multiple people looked at it, we all found more holes in each other's spirals. I feel like I learned so much just putting this together. So the thing is this, not every question is not going to be here. So if you see questions that are missing, maybe those are things that you can ping me after the meeting or something, and I can add them, because maybe those are holes for other people. All right. So this is really a very green collaboration. So I just want to say that So don't spend tons of time going like, this is missing this. These people don't have their stuff together. All right, back to the slides. All right, so that's the introduction. And so let's get into it. Okay, so yeah, these questions are meant to make you think about your life. There's just a springboard. Feel free to think about related questions. Get a digital paper or pen or paper, like actual notepad with paper and a pencil, and think about the questions that jump out at you. So I think that this is the thing we realize as building this together is don't try to answer every question. Look for emotional reactions. So Veronica added some questions that for me, I was like, is this like a real problem? Is this something I should waste I really was thinking like that. And I think that's the thing that we have to realize when there's a question that evokes an emotional reaction, that could be a blind spot or a hole in our spiral. All right. Are there any questions before we start? People are pinging me, asking me for the link to the Zoom. So are there any questions before we get started? All right, I'm gonna start the timer then, and let's go to Beige. So again, Beige is probably gonna be short. So get your notebook, get your paper. Let's do this thing. All right, so Beige, I'm not gonna read the questions. Just take your time to go ahead. And there's a few people who are not on mute right now. So go ahead and mute yourself. This will be a silent reflection. All right, I'm only going to spend 1 minute on Beige, but obviously if you have more things to think about on Beige, I see jokes in the chat. Okay, we're going to go on to Purple, which has a lot more. So I'll spend like more like 2 minutes here, 3 minutes. All right, 1 more minute on purple. All right, moving into red. We're going to spend even more time here in red. So we have about a minute and a half left on this one. So I think dive a little bit deeper on this one, on some of these questions. Because I find, especially in our group, that red seems to be a place where people have the most gaps. At least we feel comfortable talking about it. So, for example, you could say, how well do I stand up against bullies? I'm getting some thoughts here on how to make it even more personal.
I just noticed one of my holes because I didn't put in here when I edited it. Are you a bully? And yeah, I put the positive red because often people think of it as negative, but uh, let's own our negative reds while we're at this.
All right, I love it, Barbara. Add it
Rather
in.
rather than getting into the shadows, we've been almost completely 100% focused on the positive aspects. Although in the talk later on in the group discussion, we can talk about the shadow sides, but we're trying to
Yeah,
extract
we did, right? Right. And I did too. Yeah, exactly.
All right, good. We spent 5 minutes on red, so I think that was good because I feel this is definitely an area for especially me to work on. All right, blue's got tons of stuff. So we're gonna again do 5 minutes on blue and dig in, ladies and gentlemen. I love how taxes comes up in spiral dynamics. All right, we only have 30 seconds left and so many different questions to figure out. All right, moving on. Veronica, is it possible you could go and copy the link for the PowerPoint? So if people want to go back and look at a previous slide, they can have it. Just paste it into the main site chat room.
Okay, the Google Slides is still this same one.
Yeah, you can just paste it so people can, if they want to follow along, or go back to a previous color, or skip ahead because they're just like, these colors are dumb. Just kidding. I just put it into your chat. Okay, so now we're moving into orange, and maybe depending on your color, you may think some of these things are really stupid. So remember to look for the emotional reaction as we move into orange. All right, 1 more minute on orange. All right, I hope orange was productive and effective and efficient for you. Let's move on to the next color, green. Again, look for the things that are triggering you, making you feel irritated or mad, because those could be holes that you should look at. All right, let's go. 5 minutes. All right, 1 minute left on green. All right, and now we're moving into yellow. So we'll spend 5 minutes in yellow. time is flying by in the yellow because my understanding of space and time has been revolutionized. So we only have 30 seconds left back here on the spatial plane. All right, we're moving into our final stage as far that we know about, and that is turquoise. So let's go ahead and take a few minutes here. All right, 1 minute left to tune into all the needs of sentient beings and achieve non-judgment. All right. That was 5 minutes to contemplate the energetic needs of the entire world. All right. Well, clearly you can't spend enough time with these questions. I just barely scratched the surface myself. So let's go into reviewing our results. So we're going to take 5 minutes to just go through your paper notebook, your digital notebook, or however you are documenting. Maybe you have some kind of hologram because you're even more advanced than the rest of us. But go ahead and just take a skim through your notes, see if there's anything that jumps out at you, maybe circle it or highlight it or, do something. And then we'll move into the planning. So 5 minutes to just sort of look at what are things that pop out. Maybe there's some themes. So go ahead and review your results now. I'm getting colored pencils to color things on my paper. So you guys may want to do that too, just so you can sort of see what's popping out. All right, 1 minute for highlighting, circling, starring, something that makes it easy when we're about to go into planning. All right, and that's 5 minutes. Remember, you can always come back and do this again later and continue to work. But now let's go to the plan. So to be successful in life, you cannot do 10 things. If your to-do list has 10 things on it, they must be all very small, boring things. So just pick 3 things, and you could give yourself a timeline of, I'm going to do 3 things between now and December. And then at the end of the year, you have like, hey, I got these things done during your New Year's resolutions time or your New Year's reflections. So just kind of aim to pick 3 things that you can work on, nothing too crazy, be realistic, be kind to yourself. So we have 5 minutes to come up with 3 things that we can work on. All right, 1 more minute to finish your plan. All right, we have completed our 5 minutes. So now we're going to jump into small groups, and I'm hoping Paul is going to help put that in there. And Andrew, I think that's how you say. Yeah, I feel like none of us, at least I wasn't able to come up with any choral questions, but maybe you can teach a workshop on that next time. All right, so we're going to go into a small group, and the questions that you should consider as you are in your small group, and of course, no one ever listens to us as we do that, is, did you realize there's any holes in your spiral? Or what did you realize? Or were there any themes? And then what's your plan? Again, you don't need to share if you don't feel personally like you need to share the things you discovered. Don't feel like you're obligated to do that. And we can spend 30 minutes in the small groups. So there's plenty of time to talk about whatever it is. And we usually almost always end up talking about, you know, how to save the world at the end of the discussion. But all right, Paul, you ready to send us to our rooms?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.
All right, thanks everyone.